If we could, I'd like to call the Jackson County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, September 15th, 2015 to order. At this time, if we'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate it. John Plachek.
What we do here tonight will become the memories of our children and our grandchildren. Our assigned tasks as a commissioner, be them big or small, is to create a future that promotes a better life for everyone. We are the tools of a greater force, one that has guided this nation for nearly 240 years. Our responsibility is to use that guidance to represent the people of this county. We, the commissioners of Jackson County, do not rule the future. We are only given the opportunity to shape it. This is our calling and this is our duty. As we discuss and vote on the course to move Jackson forward, we ask the Lord to assist us to perform at the very best of our ability so that one day our grandchildren will say, "This is where I want to live." Amen.
Madam Deputy Clerk, could you call the roll?
Commissioner Leitner? Here. Commissioner Waltz? Here. Commissioner Rice?
Here.
Commissioner Duckham?
Here.
Commissioner Alexander?
Present.
Commissioner Mahoney?
Here.
Commissioner Plachek?
Here.
Commissioner Elwell?
Here.
Chairman Chatwell?
You. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion and support. Any additions, deletions, or corrections to appear on the agenda? You beg the chair's indulgence, but I'd ask you to add a 17E 911 Enhanced Radio Ad Hoc Committee announcement. Any other additions? Seeing nor hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. We have no awards and recognition at this time. If there are any communications or petitions to come to the board, please present them to the Deputy Chief Clerk at this time. Seeing none, we now arrive at special orders, public hearings, the budget hearing. Administrator Overton. Did you want to give an explanation beforehand, sir? At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for the 2016 and the draft 2017 budget. Anyone like to speak to the public hearing? Please state your name, sir.
My name is Dave Robinson. I am the president of the National Federation of the Blind of Michigan Jackson chapter. We are an organization of blind people here in the community, and we work toward the betterment of services and community issues relevant to people with visual impairment and blindness. And of course, one of the things that I know that you're contemplating tonight on the budget is the supplement to the Jackson Transit regarding for county services and the reserve a ride to your residents, to your constituents in Jackson County. I encourage you to consider refunding this transportation service. It is the only transportation that's a public transportation that's available to county residents that are not able to drive for whatever reason it might be. It could be age, it could be medical, it could be that they can't get a license because of vision loss and whatever. So we need to make sure that the people that live in the county that are not able to drive, that use Reserve-A-Ride transportation, continues to carry out their activities of their daily lives, whether it be in the county or coming into the city for shopping, for medical appointments, or for other things that they need to carry out on their day-to-day lives. You know, I often wonder what people who drive think about public transportation, and probably most people don't even give it much thought at all. The majority of us, the majority of people go out in their driveway, get in their car and drive to the store, drive to the movies, drive to the restaurant, drive to their work, wherever it might be, they get in their car and they drive. The convenience of the motor vehicle is here to stay, I am sure. But there are many of thousands of people in the county who don't have that option. The blind and visually impaired are some of those individuals. And we as citizens of this county also should have the right to be able to carry out our business in the best way possible without having to spend enormous amount of dollars, which most of us do not have, for transportation in terms of paying for cabs or paying other people to drive from place to place. So the public transportation Reserve-A-Ride is critical to keep us in a viable position to be a contributing part of our community. And I encourage all of you to think about that and think about the fact that if you had to get somewhere without your car, how would you do it? If you lived in the county, how would you do it? And could you do it? So that's what we face on a daily basis. Every day, we try to determine how we're going to get there. So I appreciate the time, and thank you so much. Appreciate your deliberation this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ken Toll, the CEO of the United Way of Jackson County. I live in the city of Jackson and proud to serve the county. Thank you also for the opportunity to comment tonight. I know you guys have worked very hard on this budget and you have some real challenges in front of you, and I understand the difficulty of making tough decisions when money is tight, so I don't envy your decisions tonight, and I thank you for all your hard work getting to this point. I'm also here to speak out in support of the Jackson Area Transportation Authority. If there's any way to restore Reserve-A-Ride funding, I think that'd be a very wise move. We know that government is in a quandary right now, and a lot of what I see going on is sort of the kick the can mentality. If you look at what's going on with Reserve-A-Ride, this is a real preventive measure for our community. The stats I have show that almost or over half the trips made in Reserve-A-Ride each year are for medical purposes, and last year that was almost 900 trips. If those trips prevent one person, or if they allow one person to, say, get dialysis and avoid a kidney transplant later, that saves us all a lot of money. If two people can get insulin and not show up in Allegiance Health 3 years from now needing an amputation, that saves us a lot of money. So while it does look like significant funding for Reserve-A-Ride, I believe it's actually saving our community considerable costs in the future by allowing people to get their health care needs met, among other things. We also hear stories of people who use it to get to work. Jackson is a very resilient community. People are very resourceful. A lot of people are able to make do without a car, but sometimes you just can't do it without a little help. And Reserve-A-Ride is the only help a lot of these folks have. So I encourage you to try to find a way to restore this funding or find an alternative for folks who don't have transportation, because there are a lot, and it's a very important service, which will harm the vulnerable, particularly if it goes away. So anything you can do to preserve it would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Simon Foster, and I am the Government and Community Relations Manager with Jackson Area Transportation Authority. I am here tonight on behalf of JATA and on behalf of the residents here in Jackson County, those residents that we all serve, because those tax dollars make sure that we have a job. the survey that was conducted earlier this year, and a few of you guys were in attendance, that JATA was funded for, found that Jackson County residents not only heavily utilize JATA service, but want it and love it. And so I can't say that you should vote for this or not vote for this, because I'm not in that position to say that. But what I am in a position of is to state the facts. That you have over 1,000 individuals, over 1,000 rides, and what Mr. Toll said was absolutely true. That over half of those rides that county residents use are medical rides. And so it is extremely imperative that we as public servants provide a service, especially when JATA has the capacity to provide that service, and only if we have a contract and or millage, with the help of elected officials and or residents. So I'm here to state the facts, and I hope that you guys base your decision on those facts. And I know that there's hard decisions to be made, and during tough times we have to make those decisions. But I want to make it clear that JATA looks forward to not only working with the residents here, but also it looks forward to working with you guys on coming up with some sort of resolution. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Mary Ann Robinson, and I'm also a member of the Jackson chapter of the National Federation of the Blind. I'm a lifelong resident, and I've lived in the community many years, and I've worked in the community for over 35 years. When Dave mentioned what it's like to not be able to have a car, I'm sure many of you have found yourselves in that position on occasion when you need car repairs or something happens and you may not have a car for a day or two or maybe a week, and you have to carpool or find ways to get to where you need to go. I've had to use some sort of transportation and depend on a bus or family or friends or JTA my whole life. And to me, it's very important that I can be an integral part of this community and to contribute to it in whatever way I can, whether it be economically, whether it be through work, whether it be through shopping, recreation, education, or any of the many other ways that we contribute. And the tagline of the National Federation of the Blind is that we believe that we can live the lives we want. And to do that, public transportation is essential. JTA is essential. And I hope that you will decide to continue the funding for Reserve a Ride. And as Commissioner Palachuk stated, you want to be remembered by your children and grandchildren, and you want to have the best quality of lives for all of the county residents, and you want to shape the future. I believe that having the best quality of life and shaping the future is providing transportation so everybody can live the lives they want. And if funding for Reserve a Ride goes away, I think the county will be regressing and we will be moving backward, and I don't think that's what your grandchildren would want to remember you for. Thank you.
commissioner comments during the public hearing? Seeing none, entertain a motion to close the public hearing. We have a motion and support. Any questions to the motion? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor? Those opposed? Duly carried. You've now arrived at the second opportunity for public comment. If you'd like to address the board, please feel free to. You have 5 minutes to address the board. You may only address the board once under public comment, and your opportunity may not be yielded of your time to others. Board members will not debate nor answer questions at this time. Your opportunity for regular public comment now. Any public comment? Any public comment? Seeing none?
Can I interrupt?
Certainly.
This static that we're hearing, it's a microphone. If everybody could turn off your mic and then tap. Phil's mic is off, but you hear that?
Mine's off.
All the mics are messed up.
Ours aren't on this end.
You're off?
Mine's on.
Mine's all right now.
Well, there's a reason.
Can we deal with this? Yeah, we
And I just was just trying to stop the static. Is there a reason?
Phone off there, Daniel. I think it's Sprint. Yeah. It could be that too. It could be that too. We have no special meetings of standing committees tonight. Approval of the minutes of the August 18th, 2015 meeting, please. We have a motion and support. Any corrections or deletions? Want to change their vote? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Duly carried. We've arrived this time at the consent agenda. We have a motion and support. Any items for removal and consideration at a later time? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll? You want to post it on everybody's page?
But that's okay. Commissioner Leitner? Yes. Commissioner Wells? Yes. Commissioner Rice?
Yes.
Commissioner Duckham?
Yes.
Commissioner Alexander?
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney?
Yes.
Commissioner Placzek? Yes. Commissioner Elwell? Yes. Chairman Shawa?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. We've now arrived at item 14, or item 13, standing committees. Appointments. Standing Committee Affairs and Agencies chairs by Commissioner Elwell. Commissioner Elwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We only have one appointment tonight. It's for the Community Action Agency. The current member was Julie Alexander. Sarah Leitner was the applicant and is the recommendation from committee.
Any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Elwell.
All I have to report, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Standing Committee Human Services chaired by Commissioner Alexander. Commissioner Alexander.
Human Services has no business to bring before the board.
Thank you. Standing Committee Personnel and Finance chaired by Vice Chairman Phil Duckham. Commissioner Duckham.
Mr. Chair, we have no business to conduct tonight. Thank you.
Very much. We've now arrived at unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business to be brought before the board? Seeing or hearing none, we now move on to new business. Administrator, Controller, Budget, the General Appropriations Act. Administrator Overton.
Thank you. Obviously, this is a difficult budget. This is not the first difficult budget this county commission has had to deal with. Each year, for the 4 years I've been here, and I believe a few years prior to that, we have been reducing our budget. We've taken a slow and steady approach in the sense that each year we reduced our operating expenses and drew down on some of our general fund reserves. We are coming to the end of that, frankly. We're down to roughly $1 million, not even really, depends. It depends on the 911 fee, potentially, if that were to pass. If that were not to pass, just to be clear with everyone, we would not have any additional fund balance beyond our cash flow needs, which is 24% roughly. Well, it's 18 to 24. We don't want to drop below 20% because truly we would run into a cash flow challenge. But the bottom line on it is, we're trying to be proactive. This budget is a 2-year. It's what really is. It's a 1-year budget with a 2nd-year draft, so that we're trying to look 2 years ahead, making sure that we're being responsible. Because we do not anticipate it getting a lot better anytime soon. The way Proposal A and Headley works in Michigan, even with a lot of growth, we would still be capped. 5% of inflation or the lesser of the two. Well, inflation is, it's less than 2%. Be assured our costs are going up by more than 2%. Healthcare alone, is looking at 5-6%. When you start adding in the additional costs and our limited revenue increases, and it's very limited, we're coming back, but it's ever so slowly, way below the 5% threshold max. So, needless to say, difficult decisions have had to be made. We've looked and had discussions with the board in our board retreat year after year, challenging the board to prioritize and look at what our services are and what should they continue to be. And it's never easy, truly. And we don't do any or provide any services that are truly without merit. The services we provide to the residents of Jackson County are very good and very much needed in a lot of ways. But yet at the same time, decisions have to be made. And thus far, we've been fortunate in that most of our reductions have been just that, reductions, not necessarily wholesale elimination of programs. I believe the first one we did was a couple years ago when we did animal control officers. We no longer have animal control officers in the county, as you're well aware. And now we're at a point where we're having to make some other reductions, and of course, the transportation system, share right, it's among them. It really is. It's $100,000 of the county. So while I know it's not an easy thing to do, priorities are just that. You have to make those tough decisions. We've talked about it. We've looked at it many different ways. And the budget before you is what we believe is in the best interest of the county moving forward. As a whole, I know there's always going to be individuals that will be burdened more so than others. There's no escaping that. But at the same time, we believe we have the best alternative that we could put together going forward. So with that, we have 4 resolutions that tonight we would need to adopt to move forward with our budget. And we have them separate, listed on here, A through D. You could take them, I would recommend you just take them separately that way on the budget. And if, Adam, you have anything you want to add to my comments?
Only that I sent just a few minutes ago, literally sent you an email with the Sheriff's 911 capital request. Commissioner Aldo brought it to my attention that it was omitted, and that's my fault. It was submitted. The funds are budgeted in the other funds on in the second resolution. But the items need to be added to the capital improvement program. We can do that at a later date, as it can always be amended. But the specific items are not found in there, so, and that's my fault, not the sheriff's fault, so.
Okay, we're going to try to walk through this. I think I've got them figured out after reading them a couple different times. If commissioners have questions,
I had one of Mike. Mike, you mentioned maintaining fund balance above 20% for cash flow purposes. And if I recall right, I don't have it up in front of me now, but the road department budget is just about at that. Is that a concern for you if it should drop below that? If I got it right, that we're just about at 20% fund balance with the road department, or?
Department is separate and apart from our general fund budget.
No, I understand that.
No, they're actually they're in a pretty decent position because they don't have quite the expense load that we do as the county.
So that 20% is sufficient for them?
For them.
Okay.
any further questions? Commissioner Elbow.
Well, just one additional. I appreciate Adam's comments about the capital improvement budget. I did want to look at that and didn't see it, so I asked. And I'm okay with whatever we need to do with it. I want to look at it at some point in time in more detail, but.
Any further questions or comments? Start with Resolution 09-15.32, the Jackson County 2016 General Appropriations Act. Whereas in accordance with the provisions of the Michigan Public Act 621 of 1968, the Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act for local government, it is the responsibility of Jackson County Boards of Commissioners to establish and adopt a county budget. Therefore, be it resolved that the Jackson County Board of Commissioners does hereby adopt the 2016 operating budget at the category level as shown in the budget document and has the official budget for Jackson County for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2016. I paraphrase. Entertain a motion on that resolution. We have a motion and support. Be in front of you to vote. Passed unanimously. Resolution 09-15.33 to establish the 2016 budget for the general fund and for the special revenue enterprise capital projects and internal services fund for the county of Jackson, where it is the responsibility of the Board of Commissioners to establish budgets for various activities in Jackson County in addition to the general fund. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Jackson County Board of Commissioners adopts budgets for the fiscal year 2016 for several funds outlined and attached to this document. Entertain a motion. We have a motion and support. Any questions or comments? B should be in front of you to vote. Rodney, we're not getting your vote. Did you vote yay? That's unanimous. I don't find the other resolutions here. Resolution 90-15.34 to amend the compensation plan for the County of Jackson to add a 1% market adjustment for non-union county employees fiscal year 2016. Whereas it is the responsibility of the Board of Commissioners to establish compensation and benefits for non-union county employees. Now therefore be it resolved that the Jackson County Board of Commissioners amends the compensation plan for FY 2016 by 1%. Be it further resolved that the schedule of all other benefits remain the same as previously adopted by the Board of Commissioners. Entertain a motion. We have a motion and support. Any comment? Would you be so kind as to post the vote? The vote should be in front of you. Resolution passed unanimously. I'm sorry. Let the minutes show a correction of my vote to a yea vote. Resolution 09-15.35, Annual Statement of Compliance with Public Act 152. Public Act 152 requires public employees to either impose hard caps on health benefits, require employees to pay at least 20% of the cost for their health care, or opt out of the requirement, and the Jackson County Board of Commissioners intend to require employees to pay 20% of the cost for their health insurance. Now therefore be it resolved in accordance with Public Act 152, the Jackson County employees will share 20% of the cost of health care expenses. Entertain a motion, please.
Moved.
We have a motion and support. Any comments? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have completed the budget for 2016 and the draft budget for 2017. I thank you for your patience and understanding tonight with me, and I want to also thank you for the hard work and diligence you all did on putting together this budget. I know there was quite a bit of discussion and quite a bit of late night reading on all of our parts. At this time, we're at item D. As asked for by this commission to establish a 911 radio ad hoc committee, which I believe also should be answering the enhanced 911 questions. I pass out to you the 9-member committee. May not be enough. It's enough going around. Anybody got one down there?
I move to concur with the chair's recommendation.
We have a motion and support. Any comments? So the audience knows, the chair has named Commissioner Rodney Walsh chairman, Commissioner Daniel Mahoney, Commissioner David Elwell, Commissioner Sarah Leitner, Blackman Township Supervisor Peter Janzik, Under Sheriff Christopher Kuhl, Napoleon Chief of Police Mike Curry, Summit and Spring Arbor Township Fire Chief Tim McEldowney, and Jackson County Ambulance Representative Paul Hood. The city has reserved the option to add a person if they so deem. I have spoken with Matt Hines. At this time, he's not interested in naming someone other than Daniel Mahoney to represent the city. He feels that's a good position. Just so everyone's aware, we may be coming back and adding one member to this. All in favor? Those opposed? Duly carried. We've arrived at the second round of public comment. The same public comment guidelines are in place. Your individual is to state their name. You have 3 minutes, though, at this time to address the board. You may only address the board once, and you may not yield your time. The board members will not debate nor answer questions at this time. Opportunity for public comment. Any public comment? Seeing none, we now are on to commissioner comments. Commissioner Alexander.
Thank you. For the sake of the board, as well as the audience and the viewing and listening audience as well, just want to remind everyone that this Saturday, September 19th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. So if you have any constituents or anyone needs to remove any items that are considered hazardous waste products accepted, it's a long, extensive list, including aerosol cans, oils, and paints. It's at a $5 per carload charge. Electronic waste is also being accepted free of charge, including computer items, microwaves, TVs, etc. They're also accepting passenger-sized tires at $1 per tire. Again, appointments are being requested by calling our health department, 784-2800. And again, this is brought to you by the Jackson County Health Department, Recycling Jackson, Cascades Recycling, and Emmons Services.
Any other commissioners? Commissioner Leitner.
I also want to remind people that this Saturday is the Jackson County Farm Fest. It's hosted by MSU Extension mainly. There's going to be 3 stops in Jackson County. The Parks Dairy Farm, Glen Farm Seed, and the Waterloo Farm Museum. So it's Grass Lake, Waterloo, and Stockbridge. And that's going to be from 11 to 5. And you can get the information on the Jackson County Farm Fest website, on Facebook. That's also on there. The other thing is, I have something in my district. We are having a new manure spreader benefit for the food pantry in Springport. It's hosted by the Griffith United Methodist Church on M50, M99 actually, just north of Springport, from 7:59 a.m. to 10:31 a.m. And the goal is to fill a brand new manure spreader with non-perishable items for the food pantry. Yes, we're ag community, so we use farm implements to, stuff our food pantry with, but it's clean, I promise. So anyways, that's at the United Methodist Church on M99, just north of Springport.
Any other commissioner comments? Seeing none, we have no closed session. We are adjourned.